Oh yes guys, London Marathon, I'm in. Let's just pause that music. What beautiful music. Yes, I am in London Marathon. But enough about this. This video is a review of my Chester Marathon. So let's go. So yes guys, I'm in London Marathon. So happy with that. So that was the good news from last week, because as you saw, and before I go into the review of the race, you would have seen from my actual race vlog that I did have an air of disappointment and sadness with my particular race, because it didn't go to plan. And I know things sometimes don't go to plan, but and this is what this video is about, in terms of things that I can improve and things that went really well. But before I get into that, there's a few things I'd like to say, yeah? And that is, guys, I want to give a big thank you to each and every one of you who watched that race vlog and left some amazing comments. Like, you can leave some comments now below regarding this video. I'm so happy that there's a cluster, a great community here of fellow runners, and some really top elite runners as well, who some who were racing with me at Chester, and some from around the world, you know. So I could name them all. There is so many to name, but you've left some great comments and feedback, which I'm going to take on board and use for the next race. So my next A race will be London Marathon. Yes, I know. Don't worry, I won't play the music again, or show you the magazine. Or should I show you the magazine? Yeah, I know, it's so nice. Yeah, I'm in. Yeah, and you too can get in. And I've just got to give one other shout out, and it literally just came in on my last video that I put up regarding the Eliud Kipchoge and the Brigid Kosgei world records in their marathons. Apologies if I've mispronounced those names, but amazing races. But one of my subscribers, viewers, Joanne Brown, amazing performance at Melbourne Marathon in a new PB, 3 hours and 54 minutes, 7 minutes PB, so sub 4. Yeah! Absolutely amazing, Joanne. I'm sure you should be so proud of you, and it's great to know that these videos have helped you in some way, and maybe share it amongst all your friends, and all your friends too can run sub 4. And she's been very realistic. While she has a Boston qualifying time, yeah, that's right, a Boston qualifying time, right, inside by about a minute. We need to be realistic, and those of us who have run Boston, yeah, there's my bib from Boston, yeah, that one there, and we know that you've got to get within about 5 minutes, if not more, of the actual qualifying time, because they only take the fastest, and that's what's happened now with London Marathon. There's that bit from London Marathon. So I do feel for you guys who've got who had qualifying times but have not got into the race of London. We're all getting faster, so hopefully with watching these videos it can help step up, yeah? So without further ado, let's go into lessons learned. So guys, I'm going to cover the key lessons learned and positives to take from that. There's two key lessons that I've learned. One is to look at the profile of the race beforehand. Check the actual profile. Don't go by what's written on the website or what some people say on their YouTubes or whatever. And I've got to say, you know, whilst there's some great content out there, there's a lot of misinformation on all sorts of stuff. And Chester Marathon was one of them, where people said the first half is easy and relatively flat. So I guess it's an interpretation of what relatively flat means. But when you check the profile, and I did post it on my social media, you can follow me on Run Guru Run on Twitter and Instagram. The profile, it's not flat at all. There is no flat bits. It's England and Wales, yeah? So there's hills. And that's why my quads, by about mile 16, they just had enough, and they see.
Chester Marathon for quite a few years now, since 2015. So we know the route pretty well. It's a fantastic route, very scenic. Starts and ends at the Chester Racecourse. The first half is fairly easy. It's moderately flat. It gets a little bit more challenging in the latter half, especially at mile 17 when you cross over the bridge, when you get back from Wales back into England, and the very famous Sandy Lane at mile 23. There's also a very cheeky bridge which goes on for a little bit at mile 24, 25 near the riverside, other than that, it's it should be it's fairly simple route, I think. Yeah.
In terms of lessons learned, yeah, I need to be check the profile. That was number one. And number two is, as Suzanne and a number of other people picked up, I did go off too quick. Only a shade too quick, but it makes all the difference. And whether it be 10, 15 seconds per mile too quick, that made all the difference. And in terms of lesson learned, for the next one is maybe hang with the 3 hour pacer or hang behind the 3 hour pacer and slowly pick up after that, rather than try and, I think I was with the 3 hour pacer in the town and then I kicked on. I think I kicked on too early and maybe was going a little too quick at the start because of those hills. Yeah, it felt easy because, you know, you're endurance trained. The first 3 miles, 6 miles, 12 miles of a marathon will feel easy when you're going at target race pace, but that was too quick for me early on. So those were the two key lessons learned. In terms of the positives, yeah, so many positives that I can take from Chester Marathon. The first positive is I got to the start. I actually done a full training block, and whilst I did hurt my back 2 weeks before a race, I had to take a week off. I did get to the start and I was able to complete the race, which is the second positive. It wasn't a DNF. I had trained and I finished the race. So I got to the start. As I often say, and maybe more so with New York Marathon coming, is the hardest bit is getting to the start. For New York, it's actual race day getting to the start, but the training blocks, you know, you've done around 600-700 miles, however many miles, you know, they may done, some people do 100 mile a week. So if you've done a 16-week training block, that's near enough 1,600 miles. So you've just got a 26 mile at the end of that training block. So getting to the start is the hardest bit. So for me, big positive was getting to the start. And yeah, I had that back, which I think I'd overcome it, but having missed the week, you know, what to do, eh? But I got to the start and I got to the finish. So those are two massive positives, which I didn't do for my March race in Manchester. And I didn't get to Boston either, which was great disappointment, you know, being injured for those races. You know, when you've got a bib for Boston and you can't get over there, hey, you know, we live and learn. So two big positives there. And to be honest, those are the key things. I also had another positive where, in terms of my digestive system, when I did run my last marathon, which was in Chicago, I did get stomach cramps around 18-20 miles. So these are the gels that I take. These are High Five energy gels, and during Chester I toned it down to just 3. And I don't know whether I need any, I don't know. There's people out there, leave some comments below. How many gels or nutrition, what kind of nutrition do you take on during your marathon? But I only took on 3 of these, and the tummy felt fine. Yes, it felt good. And there are new versions now which they were giving out on the course. I don't know if you can see this. And this is the Energy Gel Aqua. Now the amount of carbohydrates, they talk about it's the amount of carbohydrates you need to take on or whatever. But again, the science there, it depends whether you're a carb burner or a fat burner. And again, it depends on the pace that you're running at. As a note, and I'm sure Thomas will leave a comment below. Thomas Fritz from Germany. My understanding, Thomas, you run whole marathons with no gels and no water, which is fine. It works for him, and it might work for you. There's people I know who don't take any nutrition on during a race at all. Obviously, it depends on the climate. And speaking of water, for that particular race at Chester, I didn't take on a water. I did swirl my mouth out, and I might have had a minor sip, but I just swirled my mouth out because it felt a bit dry and mushy from the first gel I'd taken. So it's just to clear out my mouth because it was quite sticky, icky. I think I spilt some on my beard or whatever, maybe just to wash myself. But I know some of the guys were taking water at every water station, a little sip and then throwing it over themselves, because early on some of these guys were running like around 2:45 pace and sub 2:45 paces, so they're getting a bit heated. For me, at the pace I was going at, I felt quite cool. There was a breeze blowing, and the breeze, in fact, there was points where I probably got cold, and I mentioned that in terms of how my quads had seized up. So those are the positives and lessons learnt, and for me, I'm ready for the next one. You know, London was like next week or whatever, but I did go for my first run today. and I'll be talking more about recovery, where I always take at least a whole week and some, so between 10 days, 2 weeks of no running. I have been doing other things like swimming and elliptical and some rowing, just to keep the body ticking over. And obviously I'll walk to and from work, so I do carry on doing me walking, but that's it really. So hopefully you found this useful in some way, and I look forward to hearing you. When's your next race? What race are you targeting? What are you going to go for? Leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you are new and you haven't already done so, then click on that link up there and subscribe. And if you haven't already watched, there's the Chester Marathon itself. Yeah. Bye.